All right. So let's get started with today's or not lesson. We're doing orientation today. So real quick, we're going to talk about the PBIS standards. What this means is I started with. Sorry, Siri was trying to get a hold of me. But basically, with the PBIS standards, this is basically the sixth grade mentality. So whenever I'm talking to you all directly, you are all my sixth grade superstars. And what does that mean to be a sixth grade superstar? It means that you're accountable. So that means that you are coming to class, completing your work, getting what you need to done, basically living out that sixth grade superstar mentality. You're respectful. So when we do have chat open, we're being respectful to each other. You're being respectful to your teachers, to your classmates. You want respect. So be respectful to others. And then engage. Now, I'm not asking you to like literally glue your eyes to the camera and be like, all right, I'm so engaged the whole entire time. I really have to use the bathroom, but I have to stay engaged. There are going to be moments that you're going to need like a 5 minute break. I totally understand. Or you need to use the restroom. Taking that moment, going to the bathroom, grabbing a snack. I had like apples that I was eating in here. But staying engaged, meaning like you're not on the side, like having another laptop playing Fortnite or Roblox or something like that, right? You're staying fully engaged in the lesson. We've got 45-minute lessons. You're staying focused on that. That's what that means exactly. We are a public online school. So what does that mean exactly? What does that entail? So some of you, this may be, you've been here since kindergarten. Some of you may be like, I've been here, this is my first year. I don't know what it's like. It's so different compared to my school. But what does that mean to be in a public online school? So you're going to be using your computers a lot. So that little button that's right over here, or this little person that's over here with the laptop, you're using your laptop. You're logging in daily to class. You're coming to class on time. Today, we're letting it slide just because you're logging into class for the very first time. We're all using Neuro for the first time, so we're all working out the kinks of it. But just understanding, you're logging into class. Once you get the swing of things, you're logging into class on time. This person right here is showing that they are proud. They've got a star on their chest. They are proud. I want you to be proud of your work. I want you to be proud of what you produce. So in ELA, in English Language Arts, yes, you're going to be writing. Some of you may be like, yes. Some of you may be like, oh no. And we're going to work through that. We're going to have some work sessions that we're going to, work on the writing and all that kind of stuff. But be proud of your work. So that means like choosing a topic that you're passionate about, not just choosing something just because you think it's easy. Being proud of that work, no matter if it's in ELA, in history, science, math, you're proud of that. This poster here, I normally post it in my very first slide that I have like a little virtual classroom. And that is the poster that basically displays that sixth grade superstar mentality. So as sixth grade superstars, we respect each other. We try our best. We are a team. We learn from our mistakes. And yes, even teachers make mistakes. I know I do. I will admit to it. It happens. We create and we celebrate each other's successes. So during the beginning of class, if anybody's like, hey, I had a gymnastics competition this weekend and I got first place for the first time, we're celebrating that, right? Or maybe it's somebody that is like, I have struggled with quizzes and I got my first 5 out of 5 on a quiz. We celebrate that, right? We celebrate each other's successes. Clock, just basically saying being on time. We'll talk later in the session, but we do have a middle school policy that we have to close the class or lock it at 5 minutes into class. So making sure you're getting into class on time. I know things happen, technical difficulties occur. We had that this morning with Neuro for us language arts teachers. So, things happen sort of deal, but just trying to get in on time. And that way you are setting yourself up for success. Bully free zone. Let's not be sixth grade. The other one that I'll say is sixth grade lame stars. We don't want to be the lame stars. We want to be the superstars. So bullying is a lame thing to do. So we encourage each other. If you don't have anything nice to say, that's the old saying, don't say anything at all. We want to encourage each other. We want that positive outlook. I am a very positive person, so I want that positivity in the classroom. All right, so all about me. So who's Mrs. Clemens? Who is this person talking? She's very energetic. What's going on? So I actually graduated from the Ohio State University, so I'm going to do an OH. Hopefully everybody else is going IO. Yes, there we go. Awesome. Yeah, I graduated from the Ohio State University, so I'm a huge Buckeye fan. I also love, and now I might be losing some fans here, Huge Pittsburgh girl. So I love my Steelers, my Pirates, and my Penguins. I have family that is from Pittsburgh. So I've got a huge bloodline that's there, and I love those teams. So typically, you know, on Mondays, I'm either happy or sad, depending on how my teams are doing. I am licensed to teach grades 4 through 9 ELA, social studies, and then 4 through 6 science. So I could teach literally any of those 3 subjects. I would not want to teach math because Mrs. Allport's got it down. She is phenomenal. Give me teach math, it would be a crash and burn every single lesson. This is actually my 3rd year with OHVA. So it's actually, I think it's 3rd going into 4th. It's a little crazy, but yeah, I've been with OHVA teaching for about 3 years now. I live in the Columbus, Ohio area, so that central part of Ohio. We'll have the chance to be able to play around with some whiteboard tools and kind of write on the board and stuff to showcase where you're from. And I live in Columbus, Ohio, but I'm actually like north. So I'm in Delaware County, up in Delaware, Ohio. I am married to my wonderful husband, Aaron. We actually have, he's going to be 3 months old next month. Oh my God, or next week. We have a 3-month-old named Calvin, and he is amazing. He was actually born this summer, right before school ended. I was the week before. So, and he is absolutely incredible. You'll see some memes that I've created of him where he kind of like he loves to make facial expressions. So there are some facial expressions where he's like looking shocked, and I've made some memes that are kind of funny. I have 2 dogs. You can actually see one right now. That's Max back there. But I also have another dog named Maisie, and I'll show you a picture of both of them here in just a moment. They're like the class pets. They typically are going to hang out right behind me, you know, and just kind of chill. They love to just hang out. Fun fact, I was actually an OHVA student in 2004, 2007, and Principal Hauser, who was our principal, was actually my teacher. So crazy, because when I applied and interviewed, she was like, I know you already because you were one of my students. So really cool with that. Now there's actually a picture of us together. I'll move my person around. So here we've got, this is a picture that I had outside of the shoe is what they call it. So that's OSU Stadium right here. If you ever get the chance to go there, it's super duper cool. That outside stained glass window is phenomenal. But that was my graduation picture. This is Aaron here. And then little Calvin in both of those pictures. It's a pretty cool dude. Love him to death. So that's my little baby. And then this is Max. So Max, of course, as you know, is right behind me. He's the bigger one right here. And then Maisie, I'll put an X next to her. She is there as well. And then the picture down in the bottom right is, of course, Miss Hauser. So that's our principal, which is awesome. She's one cool lady. You'll love her. Your other outstanding teachers, which is awesome too. You've got Mrs. Allport, who you met. I'm trying to see who else you've already met. Mrs. Deeren as well. And then Mrs. Workentine, who you'll meet actually next, is your history teacher. You've got a great core of teachers. I mean, I'm not going to pat myself on the back, but you've got a great core of teachers here that are willing and able to help you. They are like my best friends, and I know that they are willing to help as much as they can. And willing to help you be successful 6th grade superstars. So you're in a really good setup. Real quick, this may have been touched by other teachers, but just kind of showing this role here of advisors. Something that's a little newer to OHVA, but you are each assigned an advisor during your time at OHVA. Advisors are basically like your homeroom teachers. So they're going to keep track of attendance, help you with any questions that don't pertain to a certain subject, and are basically there to help you. So if you ever have a chance where you're like, you know what, we'll talk about when to email your advisor. But if you're like, hey, I need to change a learning coach, or we moved, I need to change my address, or hey, I don't have my materials still and they're supposed to be coming, I don't know if they're coming or not. That's who you contact, is that advisor. So when you email your content teachers, your ELA, math, social studies, science, you know, us. Whenever you have a question about an assignment, quiz, lesson, anything pertaining to the content, maybe there's a question about the reading, something like that, you're going to email your content teacher. Also, when you're going to be missing a live class connect, make sure you let us know. We're going to miss you, so I want to know, you know, if you're going to be missing something. If you're going to be missing my class, I would love to know, so that way I can get you caught up with anything that you might need to complete and give you additional information. When you email your advisor, you're going to do that when you have questions about changing your learning coach, changing your address, issues in the materials. If you want to add physical education, music, a foreign language course, that's who you're going to contact as your advisor. Also, when you're going to be missing a live class connect, let your advisor know as well for attendance purposes. So that way we know for hours, just make sure you do that. So not only do you email your advisor about attendance, but your content teachers as well. All right, so let's test this out real quick. I want to know where you are at. So if you're looking at this map of Ohio, it's separated by counties. So you should know where your county is, which is all those little, areas that are kind of blocked off there. Now, what I'm going to want you to do is I'm going to have you use pen tools here in just a moment. Now, may not show your city, and that's okay. If you know your county, you can at least put an X there. So for example, I live in Delaware County, so I'm putting an X through that. So I'm going to give you the chance to be able to do that. I want to know where you are at. Now, don't be giving out like addresses or anything like that. But let me give you, hang on a second. There we go. All right. And you should have access to whiteboard tools now. Show me where you're located. Oh, yeah, somebody else in Delaware too? Awesome. We're like neighbors. Got some in Erie County, Montgomery County, Warren, Hamilton, Butler, Dark, Fulton, Lucas. Cleveland, so it's in the Cuyahoga County, which is right up here. Somebody saying that lives in Cleveland. Oh, it looks like we're starting to scribble on stuff too. So let's make sure we're just putting like an X. And that's okay if you don't know. Some people are saying they're in Clark County. Awesome. All right, I'm going to take away pen tools, so I think we're getting a little crazy on that. Great job, everybody. So we saw that there's students that are all over the state, which is really unique about OHVA, is that we're not centralized just in one area, like how most schools are, where you're only in your particular city or in your particular area. We're across the state. And it's awesome because then we all come together for for different classes, and we're all part of a certain class. And that's awesome. So we come together for ELA during 12 to 12:45, and you all come together for math before then, or for science and then history. So, you all get the chance to be able to do that, which is incredible. All right, so you are Group B. There we go. So here's your class schedule. You may have talked about this already. We're just kind of doing that review of this. It's a little bit different than how we've structured it in the past. But you, of course, have science first from 9. And I'm actually going to take away whiteboard tools here in just a moment, because then you're going to start. Yep, I knew that was going to happen. I knew it. But you all have, science first, of course. And while I'm doing that, there we go. You all have science, and then the small groups, your teachers may have discussed that. They're not going to start until September 7th, but those are only on an invite basis only. What does that mean exactly? So you're not going to be basically needing to come to a small group session for every single class every single day. The only time you're going to really need to come is if you need to work with a teacher one-on-one, if you're falling behind on stuff in class, or if you just want to set up a session with me or any of the other teachers because you want to get some help on something. That's what those small groups are. So you're not going to be stuck behind the computer screen that whole entire time based off of this schedule, just to give you that heads up. So you have science first, then you've got math, you've got lunch, which we just completed from 11:30 to 12. Jump in with me for ELA from 12 to 12:45, and then you end your day with history. So that's just kind of that whole scoop of things when it comes to that schedule. The week of this week, 8/23. So you've completed this already because you're in the class right now. You're in orientation. This is just for ELA. You are going to be map testing with me. Woo-hoo. You're going to be map testing with me. We're going to be completing the math map test tomorrow, and we'll be going through the instructions on that. It's basically, we'll talk about what that is exactly. It's just going to track your progress. We just want to see what you know. It's not going to be for a grade. I know it's called a test. It's not for a grade. It's just to see what you know. And then we'll be completing the reading portion on Wednesday. Thursday and Friday, you'll hopefully not need to be making up any portion of the map test or anything like that. So Thursday, what I want you to do for my class is just kind of navigate OMS, watch those how-to videos. I'll show you where those are at in a second. And then Friday, maybe completing the Flipgrid activity, which again, I'll talk about what Flipgrid is exactly here as we continue on. And those are the other schedules. All right, so ELA Class Connects. So we are using Neuro, which is what we're using right now. This program is brand new to us teachers. I mean, we had some access to it last year, but some of us used it more than others. So we are testing this out for the very first time for a lot of new teachers, for a lot of the teachers. So whatever you're, asking questions about, we may have the same questions. So it's kind of a learning process as we're going through with this. And you might honestly be able to teach us things on how to use it. So it's a new program. It's awesome. We get the chance to be able to see your faces and all that. And you get to see mine, which is awesome too, all of your teachers' faces. Please come to class on time. The middle school policy this year is that the classrooms are going to lock 5 minutes after classes started. Now, again, if you had technical difficulties, I know Windows, for example, loves to throw out those updates where we have to like sit there and be like, all right, it's going to take forever to get the computer updated and nothing else will work unless I get this update. I understand. Tech difficulties happen. Just try to email us. Let us know, let your teacher know for a particular class if you're going to be late. We'll try to let you in, sort of deal. Unless it's like 30 minutes into the lesson, then, we'll have the recording at least available for you. Please be respectful, ready to participate. Chat's going to be open at the beginning of class. I love having chat open so that way you can talk with your friends or get to know people, get to know your classmates, get to know your teachers. And make sure you've got readings at least completed ahead of time. There's going to be audio recordings of the readings, which is awesome. So if you need to be able to read that ahead of time, that will work. We just, because of our class time only being 45 minutes, we try to get through the readings, but some of them are a little bit longer than others. So just make sure that you've got that ahead of time. That way it's fresh in your brain. And if you have questions, definitely, ask it in that questions chat. So that way we can get those questions answered for you. No worries. You are totally fine. Cameras are a new feature this year that we've been able to get students access to, which is awesome. It's one of the many perks of Neuro, but of course we got to remember our classroom etiquette. So make sure that the do's are the biggest thing. Get on camera if you feel comfortable. You don't have to, but I love seeing your faces. So if you feel comfortable enough to get on camera, cool. There are days that I don't feel like I want to be on camera, but I'll probably be on camera anyways. It's all good. Use your microphone to answer questions that are asked in class. If I give you microphone privileges, then make sure that you are using the microphone to answer the question. Say hi to classmates on camera and microphone at the beginning of class. You'll get access to that at the beginning. Right now, the classroom setting that I have right now is set to a webinar mode, which is more of like a lecture mode. So that way you're focused on the lesson and not on, what's, everybody else doing, sort of deal. Again, with cameras and even in chat and stuff and microphone, please just don't share personal information. Not only will it get me in trouble, but it'll get you in trouble as well. So there's a process that you have to go through where you have to go to the school counselor, and she has a form that both your learning coach and the learning coach of the person that you want to connect with have to fill out in order to be able to get basically permission. So don't be sharing that. Personal information does include gamer tags. I know it sounds weird, but that is something where that's a line of communication with somebody. Please don't share that. And don't be inappropriate on camera. We're sixth grade superstars. We should know. We should know by sixth grade what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. So make sure we're not doing that. Requirements. So, and like I said, this is going to be recording. So if I'm going super fast, because I tend to go fast, if I'm going really fast on things and you're trying to take notes, there will be a recording of this, so you can click on the class link like you did just to get into this session and be able to access the recording. I'll also post the PowerPoint slide too, just in case you need that as well. But units are going to close 2 weeks after the unit test. So our first unit test, I think it's like at the end of October, I want to say. Or September. It's the end of September. So like, for example, we have our first unit test September 27th. And then that unit will close October 11th. So make sure that you are staying on top of things. You shouldn't have to worry about the units closing 2 weeks after a unit test if you are staying on top of things. There are 3 attempts for quizzes and 3 attempts for the unit exam. What's different about the quizzes and the unit test is that I do give out an extra additional attempt for quizzes, but I won't do it for the test. If you need an additional attempt on a quiz, you're going to complete a study guide. We'll talk more about study guides when we get closer to the lessons, which will start next week. I'm not going to touch them today just because it's a lot of information that you're going to be thrown at right now or thrown at you. But we'll talk more about those study guides. But basically, you'll fill one out, submit it to me through email, and then I'll be able to get you access to that. Again, 3 attempts for the unit test. No more additional attempts will be given out for that. So make sure you're using those attempts wisely. Cool thing is, I'm going to tell you already, I'm going to remind you of this too. You can use study guides on quizzes and tests. So those study guides, any notes that you take as well, any of the readings that we have, you can use that on the quizzes and tests. So take that to your advantage. Taking notes, you can use the study guides that I'll provide. You can also just handwrite notes too if that's better for you, whatever you prefer. Read, read, read. Make sure you're reading the required readings, or at least getting that completed before class would be great. If you have to do it after, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. But make sure you're doing that. Don't just count on, yeah, I have cameras turned off. That's why, Liam. I don't have cameras turned on at all. But make sure that you're reading those required readings, you know, before class sort of deal. Oh, no, you're good, Liam. No worries, no worries. And the audio recordings will be available too. And then take advantage of extra credit opportunities. So most of my extra credit opportunities are going to be on something called Flipgrid, which we'll talk about here in a moment. But it'll give you the chance. Most of those extra credit opportunities are like 5 bonus points, which would help cover a quiz. So even if you didn't do well on a quiz, you used all 3 attempts, then added an extra attempt and still didn't do well, it'll help bump up that grade. And it gets you the chance too to use more camera time to be able to see all your classmates. All right, so diving into the OMS system, this main page, what is it all about? So let's talk about the home page. So this you're not going to use as much, but just looking at these icons here, what do they mean exactly? When you look at this little envelope with the letter on it and it says 3 on there, that's going to give you access to your email. So if you ever need to get access to that quickly, you go through OMS means online middle school. So if you hear us say that constantly, that's what that means. You click on that, give you access to email. That little like chain link thing there that's listed here, if you see that, hang on, let me give me my pen tool. There we go. That's going to give you access to different resources. My resources look a little bit different than yours, but you can get access to like a big universe library. There's all sorts of different things that you can use. Encyclopedia, USA test preps on there too. So if you need quick links to things, again, you're not going to use this every day, but just so you kind of know what those icons mean. If you click on your name, so that's my name listed there, it'll give you access to my account, help, or log out. The account information that's listed there will give you permissions to be able to change like your picture, that kind of stuff. Help is just kind of a help center if you have any questions, maybe that you don't want to call tech support just yet, and that'll help you out too. This is what you're going to be using every day. So on the side panel, on the main page, which maybe I can show here real quick. It's going to look different compared to yours, just because this is my teacher side. So let me hang on a second. It's going to make me, there we go. So here we've got the schedule that's listed right here, and then classes. You don't have like the new student profile here, but this is what I'm talking about on the side. So this is what we're showing, what I'm showcasing here. You're going to be using my schedule and classes a lot. So what does it mean to showcase, your schedule? So that's going to basically give you your Class Connects, so what you're in right now, and also any lessons or anything that's going to be pertaining to a particular subject, quizzes, assignments, that's all going to be listed there. What I recommend using that schedule and the plan tab, which we'll talk about the plan tab here in a moment, get a trusty planner. Write stuff down. Due dates are closer than they appear. And sometimes when you don't write down the due dates, everything is going to start tumbling in a huge mess, and they'll be like, wait, when was this due? Keep everything, you know, on a checklist and all that, or in a planner. When you click on the classes, that is going to basically give you then access to your classes. That's how you get access to that. You pretty much already kind of knew how to use this if you got into class today, so hopefully that's self-explanatory. Make sure you are always completing your work in your student account and not your learning coaches. I'm looking to see here, I think everybody that's signed in today has logged into their student account, which is awesome. Please make sure you're logging into your student accounts. If you complete work that's not in your student account, it's not going to give you credit. So I've had some students that halfway through the year are getting super frustrated with me, and they're like, Mrs. Clemens, why are my grades not showing up? I do my quizzes. What's going on? Come to find out, they're completing everything in their Learning Coach account. Don't use your Learning Coach account. That's their account. Use yours. If you do have tech issues, I highly recommend writing down this number. Tech support is like my best friend. I love them to death. I always call them, I swear, like once a week. Use that number. Give them a call. They will be able to help out. This time of year, they're really, really busy, so they may not get back to you right away, but just be patient. They are like a lifeline. They are incredible. Only use Chrome or Firefox for your internet browser. Make sure Chrome is what's recommended for Neuro. Don't use like Safari or Internet Explorer. It's not going to be compatible, especially for the map test tomorrow. We've had a lot of issues with map tests not working on those internet browsers. So make sure you're using Chrome or Firefox. Those are the best.
Ms. Clemens, I'm sorry to interrupt real quick. Just wanted to let everybody know, if you have a question at any time, you can always type your question in the chat window, and I will see that and be able to answer it for you. So you don't have to just have your hand raised and waiting until Ms. Clemens has a break to be able to see who has their hands up. So if you have a question, just let me know in the chat window. Thanks.
Thank you so much, Ms. Minnie. I appreciate that. Yes, definitely. If you have questions, because I know some of you have your hands raised and everything, just answer those questions or ask those questions in the questions and answers, and we'll try to get to you as soon as we can. All right, so ELA Class Connect set expectations. Let me show you what this announcement tab is, because you may have already had teachers that have shown this. Oh, hang on a second. I heard phone number. Let me go back real quick. I'll just type it in there real quick in the question and answers chat. But make sure that you are, basically answering those or looking at your the announcements tab. There we go. Which the announcements tab is going to be your best friend for a lot of different classes because a lot of us do communicate through that announcements tab. So what I'm going to show you real quick is my screen. And again, it's going to look a little different. I'll probably get on the student view here in just a moment. But if you go into class and you click on I only have one class because that's ELA. You're going to have more than that. And when it loads up the announcements section, what does that mean to check your announcements tab daily? Because I know a lot of your teachers use it. What does that mean exactly? That means that you are going right down here. This is the class announcements. I typically post weekly. There are times that I may post daily because I may have forgotten to explain something for the billionth time again. I have it on a Post-it note, but I still don't remember. I'll post it on the announcements tab if I need to. That way you have that. So there is the announcements tab there. Here I had it listed with our class schedule. That's typically what's going to be listed there. And then any other helpful links too that you might need. So that announcements tab will be your best friend. Please make sure you're using it. Also, actually, I'm going to go back to the screen share because there's the plan tab that I talked about. So if you go into OMS and you go at the top of your screen, I'm going to switch it to student view actually, just so you can see it as a student and not as a teacher. This is going to look different on yours. When it loads, I think it's home and then it's plan is the next tab. So hopefully this loads here quickly. The plan tab is going to give you options to look at your view specifically like for any of your classes with anything that would be due. So here I have it listed for August in the month view, and I know Mrs. Workentine recommends this, your history teacher, but this will give you a good idea of what's going to be completed in your classes that week. So again, if you have a planner, I would use this and write down in that monthly view what's going to be happening in your classes. That way you could write that down and stay ahead. There are like free printable planners as well. So if you're like, well, I don't really have money in the budget right now to go out and go get a planner, there's free printable ones, or even just print out a calendar, something like that. That'll be helpful too. All right. And if you have questions on how to turn in an assignment, complete a quiz, or something else, typically, and I should have still just kept the screen share on, typically the how-to section that I have in my class will be able to help you out a lot. So if you go, you've got class home, plan, content's your next one. So when I click on that, it's going to give me a list of categories here. And one of them is going to be the how-to section. So typically, if there's any sort of universal questions on how to do something, where everybody's like, well, how do I turn in assignments? How do I, write on a PDF? There's a quick how-to section right here that I've created. There's how to use the content tab, plan tab, how to do a PDF and submit an assignment. So if you need to have, if you have any questions, typically those general questions are going to be answered in there. Alrighty. Flipgrid. So I talked about Flipgrid, and what does that entail exactly? So it's an extra credit thing. It's not required. Extra credit means that it's optional, not required. Repeat, it's not required. But if you want to do it and earn an extra 5 bonus points each time that I post something on there, it works. It helps basically cover a quiz grade or anything like that. So throughout the year, you're going to have the opportunity to answer some questions through Flipgrid and earn extra credit along the way. So I'm just going to show you, I know I keep going back and forth, but I'm going to show you where this is located, because I'm not going to answer questions specifically about Flipgrid, because all of the questions are answered actually in this video that I created. It'll tell you how to basically get access, or how you log in, because you're going to log in through your student ID. It's going to talk about how to create a Flipgrid, and your class link will also be listed here as well. Now, I can't, it's only going to be one link. And because you guys are section B, you're only going to have access to your section only. So you're going to click on that and then log in. Again, the video that's at the top here will explain everything. So if you have questions about that, watch that video first. That's why it says start here. And you can actually, there is a introduction assignment that you can get your first 5 bonus points right away. So take advantage of it. It's pretty easy. All you have to do is just introduce yourself. And the cool thing is you don't have to use camera. There is an option that I will show that actually shows in the video of how you don't need to use camera. But I would love to see your faces. Grading for the middle school, it's pretty self-explanatory, a little bit different than it was in elementary school. But this is kind of what your structure would be. So if you have a 96 to 100, it's an A. 95 to 90, it's a B or A minus. B plus is an 87 to 89. I don't know why this grading scale doesn't have an A plus, because technically if you have 100%, it would be considered an A plus, but it's just how the system works. But that's just that grading scale that's listed there. Units are going to close. So this means that it's very important to stay up to date on quizzes and other assignments. All classes are going to have units close. The middle school policy is to close units 2 weeks after the due date. These cannot be reopened. So please, 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 please don't be that person that right before the day before the unit ends, you are rushing to get quizzes done and you don't show your best proud work. You're not doing that 6th grade superstar mentality. Please make sure that you are completing work on time. And just ask if you need help and stay on top of things from the very beginning. You're going to have a great year. Just stay on top. Have that planner out. Stay focused on what you need to complete in your classes, and you're going to have a fantastic year for sure. And always ask for help if you have any questions on that. Daily expectations. Make sure you're logging into your student account. Again, student account only. Check the daily plan to see what lessons and Class Connect sessions you need to basically get signed into. Enter attendance daily. That's for your learning coaches. Students should not be logging attendance. Your learning coaches should be the only ones doing this. And then both learning coaches and students, check your email daily. This is a big one because we want to make sure, remember back when we talked about respect and having that bully-free zone, we want to make sure that when we're communicating with teachers, when you're communicating with teachers or you're communicating with other students, that we're being respectful. So, respect the privacy and wishes of your fellow students and teachers. Sometimes we may feel like we're helping someone by basically
Uh-oh. Looks like Miss Clemens might have gotten kicked out. So that's all right. We'll keep going. So some of the things that she was talking about is respecting people's privacy and respecting the wishes of other students. Oh, there's Miss Clemens back.
Sorry about that, everybody. I don't know what just happened there. Can you all hear me still? I think you can. Okay, awesome. Just like completely logged me out there. So respecting the privacy and wishes of your fellow students. So sometimes there may be moments we log into class and somebody will say like, hey, I'm not feeling all that great. Like I've had a really rough day. Instead of saying, well, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? You know, making sure you're respecting that privacy, but also not sharing, you know, asking personal information, anything like that, like asking people, where do you live? That kind of stuff. Flaming, spamming, bullying, or other unwanted contacts, including inappropriate message, content, or attachments, will be considered a breach of this policy. Infractions may result in the disciplinary action by the school administration. That's directly from your student handbook. That's directly from that, basically saying, don't be a 6th grade lame star. Don't be bullying. Don't be spamming. Make sure that you are being respectful to others, and also be respectful to your teachers too. So when you have an email, I know sometimes we can get frustrated, but making sure that we're still being respectful. Be sure, again, not to share personal information. Again, if you have somebody that you're connecting with, that you're like, you know what, we want to share our emails or we want to share gamer tags, got to contact your school counselor, and she will set you up with the paperwork to be able to fill that out. All right, so real quick, face-to-face events. These are such an amazing opportunity that OHVA provides, where especially now we're able to have these face-to-face events. I know COVID is still around. It's not like COVID's disappeared, but a lot of the events that they're doing, basically they're following COVID protocol. They're making sure that everybody stays safe in this way, especially like our back to school picnic is an outdoor event, which is awesome. But now that we can kind of, get these events back up and rolling, it's really, really cool to have these. And I'll post the link here. Let me get the link here. Basically, this gives you the opportunity to connect with fellow classmates from around the state. You get to be a part of these different sessions. I'm going to post this in the room chat. Now, don't be like saying hi to your friends or anything like that. Just post the link. But there's the link right there. So you can click on that. That'll give you a calendar view of different events that are occurring. They're basically sorted by region. So like, for example, I'm in the Central Ohio region. So for the back to school picnic, which is September 10th, I will actually be in Westerville. So if you're in the Central Ohio area and you want to meet me, I'll be at that one in particular. So that's that link there for those face-to-face events. Gives you the chance to be able to meet other classmates. So additional supports, you should have been sent a welcome packet through OHVA. There should have been that welcome packet that was sent to you. It gives you information on the academic calendar, quick facts. There's Facebook communities that your learning coaches can be a part of if they want to, to be able to talk to other learning coaches. There's parent blogs as well that are super helpful too, especially with being that first year at OHVA. There's probably a lot of questions on what to do as a learning coach. Those will help you out. So make sure you're using that welcome packet. K-12 student and family programming. So what does that entail exactly? So opportunities to connect with other K-12 students from across the nation. So there's national summer programming, online summer camps, all that kind of stuff. There's Learning Coach University. There's different clubs. And let me get that link too for you all, so that way you can do that. Because maybe you're like, well, I want to be a part of a club. That sounds like fun. And there's so many different clubs that are out there. So these will give you the chance to be able to be a part of clubs. So maybe you love sports. Maybe you love knitting. Maybe you are somebody that wants to be a part of the Robots That Serve Tea Club. I don't know. They have tons of different clubs that are out there. This will be the chance to be able to do that. They do specific to regions as well, or to states. And they don't meet in person from what I know. But you can at least do those virtual events. They may have some in-person stuff too. But right now I know a lot of it's just been virtual. But that gives you the chance, if there's any interest that you have, or if you're somebody that's like, I don't see that club. Maybe you really are passionate about the Robots That Serve Tea Club. You can get that started too. All right, let's make sure we're being respectful too, everybody. I understand. It's all good. I appreciate that you're helping me out, but I let's make sure we're being respectful too.
And one more quick thing about the clubs.
Yes.
Guys, if you are on your main page here, this announcements tab here, that is like the general announcements that go out to all of the school. So this is where you can find that link as well to get to those to those clubs. Your classroom announcements from us are going to be here in your classes, but these general ones will be for everybody. And you can find the club stuff in there.
Yes, excellent. Thank you. Yeah, I forgot about that quick link. So if you ever do need that link again, go through that announcements tab, and then it'll be your best friend to help you out with that. Alrighty. So to wrap things up, this is my number and my extension. The extension basically is the number that you have to type in after you call. They'll say like, hey, what is the party's extension? If you type in that extension, it goes directly to my phone. Or there's my email. Email is best. I highly recommend emailing me. I have my email connected to my phone. So if you ever do email me, I can always try to get back within like 24 to 48 hours during class or school time. But because I have it on my phone, if I'm ever out and about or somewhere else, I can try to email back. So use that J. Clemens email. It's going to be your best bet. But that's my contact information. And if you have any questions, feel free to stick around. But otherwise, you're free to go. Cannot wait to meet you all on, or see you all actually tomorrow for map testing. So again, if you have any questions, stay in the room. And you can answer them in chat, or I'll give you microphone privileges too. But otherwise, the rest of you are free to go. Have a wonderful day, everybody.